This video shows the type of data insights you can derive from analytical instruments. Analytical instruments are used for test measurements of properties of physical material. They're used in industries such as medical, chemical, oil and gas, food processing, and etc. These are pretty complex machines, and they generate a lot of data, both measurement data and status data. A lot of insights can be derived from this data, especially when you analyze the data from many instruments. When we talk about data insights, we need to distinguish between two types of data insights. The first type of data insight is called operational insights, or OI. Those are the type of things that help a customer to improve their operations. So, such as questions like, are there instruments on or off? Are there any issues? Are the tests running properly? Are there any failures, etc., etc.? And typically, operational insights are derived through real-time analytics because you have to analyze the data in real time to give feedback to technicians, to lab managers, so that they can take the right actions during tests. The other type of data insights are called business insights. Those are typically done through historical or batch analytics, right? Looking at data across a long time, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, because what you want to do is you want to look for patterns that can tell you, for example, what are the top features that customers are using, what components fail more often than others, what services are customers using, and what additional services can I provide. So those business insights are more for long-term strategic operations, and they're done through looking at historical data. Both types of insights are very important for different purposes. So let's dig into the operational insights side of the story a bit more. Operational insights, when you first think of it, is really for lab managers, lab technicians to improve their operations, right? So you get visibility from the insights. You can measure your performance. You can prevent downtime by predictive and prescriptive type of analytics. You can improve the throughput of your tests if that's important to you. And very often you can also do analytics to improve the quality of your test outcomes. So those are the things that are welcomed by technicians and managers. And other things can be added into it, such as automating QC, automating checking different parameters of the instruments, etc., etc. But there's also a lot of value for instrument manufacturers when it comes to operational insights, because they enable the manufacturers to have install base visibility. Having that is very important because many manufacturers today, when their instruments get shipped out of their warehouse, they have no idea what the customers are doing with the instruments, where they are using the instruments. So having the data insights, they can try to understand how customers use the instruments and therefore help the customers to be more efficient and to generate more results. And by having that visibility, they can also sell that visibility back to the customers to generate recurring revenue. Having that visibility also allows the manufacturer to sell additional services and consumables because now they have the knowledge of what's needed by the customer. On the business insight side, for customers now, you can also step up from a particular lab into the entire organization that looks at all your labs and say, what's the performance across all my labs? How does it compare to each other? Why are there particular issues? Why is one lab more efficient than another? How do we manage the throughput? Or even in cases where if one lab gets a big order, can I shift some of the tasks or even ship some of the instruments from other labs to this particular lab to improve the throughputs over time? So you can do a lot by understanding data statistically to figure out how you can improve the business operations. Business insights is even more critical for instrumentation manufacturers because this is where they look at a massive number of instruments from many of their customers, and so that they can understand what are the top features customers are using, what are the issues they're having with the instruments. Are those due to technicians who don't quite know how to use the instruments, how to use some features, or are those due to components not well designed? So by understanding all those questions, the manufacturer can improve the instruments in the next generation design. They can improve their training, their menus, and therefore provide better services and higher quality products to their customers. Now let's talk a little bit about how to derive the operational and the business insights. And in our case, what we can do, for example, is first to acquire the data from the instruments, whether the instruments are connected to the network or not to the network. We have a way to attach a computing device to the instruments, collect the data, extract the meaningful data out of the total data package. Then we would have to transform the data into a format that's easy to use and also remove errors, remove redundant properties in that data. Then we can perform real-time analytics on the data set. We would build physics-based and machine learning or AI-based models to process that data, to look for insights, to look for events in the data. And we would record those insights and events in its own layer, data layer, so that later those data, the events data, can be stored into a data warehouse to perform the business insights, right? Because to do business insights, you need to be able to look across data in a very long interval. You cannot look at the raw data from the instrument for business insights because the raw data typically only represents every data point. It's just a tiny bit, just represents the status of the instrument at that moment. So you would really want it to be able to do analytics, to look at the data to the left and to the right, and figure out all the significant events and signatures in the data. That's only when you can perform business analytics on the events data. So that's something that we do very effectively. If you have any questions on how to derive insights on the operational side or on the business side, how to perform real-time or historical analytics, please contact us on our website. Thank you.